Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden, and today we're going to be working in this portion of the garden. We're going to be doing a little bit of cleanup. We're going to be removing a bunch of this lemon basil and we're going to be planting some new hardy annuals. Okay, so over here we're in the backyard. This is an area where I have a ton of lemon basil that reseeds itself and comes back every year, which is so wonderful. And next to it I have a Don Juan climbing rose that is going bonkers and is very happy. It's just doing really good. And we're going to get it all cleaned up today too and get it prepped for the winter. But in the meantime, I actually have a little project right in front of me that I need to deal with. Okay, so this was actually a old planter right here that had fallen apart, and my husband took the planter apart and I told him just to dump the soil out right in place. And so basically what I'm going to do is just break this up into smaller pieces and then spread it out here, just right where it is, just like this for the grass. It'll be fine. Add some soil to this area. This used to have a whole bunch of calla lily bulbs in them that rotted over the summer. It had some volunteer tomatoes. It's had a number of things over the years, but the whole piece just started to fall apart. And so I went ahead and got rid of the planter. And now I just need to spread this out and all the grass will grow through the soil. I definitely could drop this somewhere, put the soil in a bed or something, but it was a heavy planter and it was just easier for my husband just to put it out right there. Okay, next let's have a look at this Don Juan rose. It's very happy. It's doing very well in this spot, but it definitely needs a trim back in several areas just because it's going everywhere. So I'm going to start by cutting some of these lower canes off. This is pretty thorny. And then from there, I think what I'm going to do, just taking a look at some of this, I'm going to cut off a few more of these lower canes. Okay, and then from there, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use some different twine, and I'm going to continue to push everything up and attach it to the trellis at the back. Now, the trellis at the back is an actual headboard for a bed that I got online on Facebook Marketplace for fairly inexpensive, and it has worked really great as a trellis for this rose. So let's get that started. Okay, I've just got some basic garden twine and I'm just going to pull and cut some short pieces as I'm working. And one of the reasons in my last few videos I've been adding a lot more perennials to my garden is I want to be able to have more time for things like this. I'd like to invest more time in something like roses. I think it would be really fun to do. But I think you kind of have to set yourself up, because even though I do have not a small amount of time to garden, but I do spend more time gardening than most people, I'm always looking out for ways that can make things a little bit easier, which I think is important. And by adding some perennials to my garden, I think that that could be helpful over the years instead of always having to put in a ton of angles. And hopefully that would give me some more time for things like roses. Now this one piece that I just put across, I have it going horizontal. So I'm going to trim that edge off. And I should get, in the spring, should get some more upward action in this area with that particular branch. At this point in time, I've been growing this since, I guess, late spring. And I'm feeling pretty confident about it now because it's handled quite a bit, which is nice. So I don't feel as bad like cutting things off. In fact, I'm going to take this guy down. That. This one over here, it's gotten so far overgrown. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take that whole piece right there off. All right, and now I'm just going through and pulling off some of these leaves that look like they have some disease to them. It looks like a little bit of black spot, which I think is just kind of inevitable for my area. When you see them, you can pull them off and dispose of them. So I am letting them drop to the ground, but then I'll gather them all up at the end and throw them in the trash. Okay, cool. Got this area all cleaned up, fixed up for winter. We're about to get a cold snap, so a lot of this, I shouldn't get much growth off of this, and we should be set for early spring. Okay, so let's talk about this portion of the bed. Let me pull up this hummingbird feeder and kind of shift it over here. So in this bed, I get a lot of volunteer zinnias and lemon basil, and it's a fun bed. I also get a lot of Dara or Ami, which is really fun. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. But I am going to be putting a lot of hardy annuals into this bed, and I need to go ahead and pull this up, see what's going on underneath, and getting these hardy annuals ready to go. So let's just clear out this spot. Okay, that looks really good. That was incredibly therapeutic. Look at this piece of grass. Incredibly therapeutic pulling all of that up and making room. And a lot of this has already reseeded itself. Should be back next year, no problem. I do have drip lines in this bed, all throughout this bed, and I'm not sure what these are. I don't think they're 4 o'clocks. They might be some type. I used to have some black-eyed Susan in here. That might be them. I'm going to leave them there for now. This looks really good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in a bag of compost and spread that out so the whole area is kind of revitalized for next spring. Okay. Now this compost is from Living Earth, which is a local compost company. in my area. And you can pick this up at our local Lowe's. It's great compost. I'm just going to spread this out throughout this space. Okay, that looks good. Let's talk about seedlings. Okay, the first seedlings I'm going to be getting started. Now I grew all these from seed. These are all hardy annuals. When I say hardy annuals, meaning they like the cold. So I can plant them out in the garden now. They'll establish a root system over the fall and winter, and then give me springs and blooms in early spring, which I'm really excited about. Let me sit down here. So this first one I grew is called Bells of Ireland. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I grew it 2 years ago and then did not seed correctly for doing a hardy annual over the winter. So I did a whole bunch this year, and I've got quite a few. They're an excellent cut flower. They're a green tone, which is really fun. They do have thorns on them. So that's something to be aware of. They do have thorns on them. So if that's something that bothers you, definitely don't grow these. But I found it pretty easy to grow. My issue is I had a hard time finding seeds this year, but I ended up finally finding them. And these can grow anywhere. I think for me, they've grown about 2 to 3 feet tall. I'm going to put them towards the back of this bed a little bit. I've got quite a few. I've got 28 seedlings that I'll be starting. So let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and get those planted. I'm not going to be utilizing an additional fertilizer like plant tone because I did just put compost down. But I am going to start towards the back here and work my way forward. I'm going to leave a strip at the front that we're going to put the next variety of hardy annual in. Okay, so when I'm working with seedlings like this, I've been wearing gloves today because my hands are all scratched up, but let me take them off. I like to, with these Vigo trays, I can just pull out the seedlings and then I can just lay them out where I want, which is really nice. I'm planting these about 6 inches apart because I did find that the plants got pretty big, which was wonderful, but I'm hoping that this will help support them, the plants a little better by putting them together, closer together. I will say that you have to stake these plants as they get bigger because they will just totally flop over. So that's something to be aware of as well. So let me just get one whole tray out and we'll start from there. And I love it when they're just little seedlings like this because they're just so easy to pop into the ground. Okay, so the next variety we're going to be growing is called Godisha, and the particular variety is called Gray Salmon. And this is the first year growing it for me. There's multiple seedlings in each of these containers. They are pretty wily. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim these up a little bit. I'm going to leave maybe at least 2 to 3 sets of leaves, trim right above it, and then I'll get them planted into the ground. Okay, so just coming in these, and I'm going to trim above a set of 2 to 3 leaves. Just so that it will focus on putting roots down as opposed to getting ready to bloom. Okay, and then of course the last thing is to get these really watered in. When I'm putting in new seedlings, I water right at the base. So try not to weigh the seedlings down. And I will have to keep an eye on these in the next few days. We're still in a drought here, my area. So I have to make sure that these seedlings don't dry out. Okay, this turned out really great. I'm very happy with the look. So we've got the Grace Salmon Godisha in the front, and then we've got the Bells of Ireland in the back. And of course, I still have more room to plant additional items as well. I think, like I said, I think that this is some kind of what do you call it? Some type of black-eyed Susan. I'm going to leave it there for now, see what it is. I'm not sure, but if these take, I should have a ton of Bells of Ireland, which I am excited about. They're just such a fun, unique plant. And then I really hope the Godisha ends up working out as well. It's kind of spindly. I don't know if that's because I grew it from seed under grow lights or not, but we'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully it will give me some new growth from the base and some more stronger growth than this kind of spindly growth. We'll see what ends up happening. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know my latest videos are up. And be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.